The good news about the 41% drop on Amazon Prime sale day number one. Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. You probably all heard this by now that Amazon Prime Day sales on the first day dropped by 41% compared to last year. So there's a silver lining to this, and that's what this video is about. There is actually good news. It doesn't sound like it when there's a huge drop in sales at probably the biggest retailer on the planet right now. But there is a silver lining, and I'm going to explain it. So first, a little background. Amazon Prime sales have been around since 2015, and the sales volume has risen every year since 2015. This is a new development. The 41% drop that we've all heard about that happened today, a 41% drop in sales on Prime Day Sale 1. It's being blamed falsely on the fact that the number of days the sale will last was increased from 2 days to 4 days. Okay? It's bogus. It's a bogus argument. Think for a second of the Black Friday fistfights in stores when stock runs low. People are waiting at the front door of Black Friday sales at retail stores. You've seen the videos. They unlock the doors, people rush in a huge crowd, and they actually get into fistfights because the stock starts running low. When there's a sale on, people rush in to get a good deal, and the supply runs down quickly. There's absolutely no reason for people to wait to buy when there's a sale on, because the sale is not going to last. So this is a bogus argument. The fact that there's 4 days of sales instead of 2, and that's why there's a huge drop on the first day. It's bogus. It's nonsensical. People have no reason to wait to buy. They have no reason to wait to buy because the risk is the stock will run low and there will be a shortage of the things that they want. And there are some things that will run low on stock quickly. There are some items that will be in very high demand and they'll run out of stock. And people know that. So they're not going to wait. They're not going to wait till the fourth day, the last hour of the fourth day to make purchases. This 41% drop has several contributions to why that happened. The first one is the job market. The job market sucks. There's no question about it. So the most important thing to keep in mind about the job market is despite all the propaganda that you will hear in the financial press, the continuing unemployment claims, which means the long-term unemployed people, is higher now than it's the highest level since 2021. It has not been, the number of people who have been unemployed for a long time has not been this high since 4 years ago, since 2021. So the propaganda you hear from the financial press that the job market is great is BS. It's not great. If you know people who are looking for work, you know that. And the one thing the financial press will admit is I've actually heard this that they will admit. So if you lose a job, it's going to take a while to find a new job. So at least they're willing to tell that small amount of truth about the job market. The job market sucks, and when the job market is awful and people are concerned about whether their job is in danger or what's going to happen if they need to find a new job, they stop spending. The 41% drop in Prime Day sales is partly to blame on the crummy job market. The job market sucks. Another contributor, graduating college seniors. You can look this up if you don't believe me. Graduating college seniors, they're saying there are no jobs. You can read articles right now that say this is the toughest job market for graduating college seniors in a very long time. The job market is not in good shape, despite the propaganda you hear from the financial media. The financial media likes to put a positive spin on it, but I'm not going to BS about it. I'm going to speak the truth. I know the job market is not in good shape right now. Another contributor to the drop in sales, AI layoffs. 2 examples. Microsoft laid off 6,000 people in May. They're laying off 9,000 more this month in July. IBM just announced 8,000 people being laid off from their human resources department, their HR department. They're all going to be replaced by AI. So the AI job replacement is happening big time. Anytime a company can eliminate an employee, because employment, that's the biggest expense for most companies is the payroll. The payroll expense is usually the largest expense companies have, and they want to trim that as much as possible. So across the board in the US, if your job can be replaced by AI, it will be replaced by AI. It's just a question of when. So that's another contributor to the drop in sales. Another contributor, consumers are not spending. I already mentioned the long-term unemployed. It's the highest level since 2021. If you look this up, you can look up continuing jobless claims. That simply means how many people are still filing for unemployment benefits because they haven't been able to find a job. It's quite high. Let's see here. The silver lining. So the title was, there's a silver lining to the huge drop in Prime Day sales. Okay, so here's what, I couldn't fit everything on the board, okay? So the EU zone enacted stimulative monetary policy 6 months ago, a half a year ago. For the past half year, the EU zone countries, that's 27 countries, have had stimulative monetary policy. Now, what does that mean? And why do they do that? Okay, stimulative monetary policy is a lowering of interest rates to stimulate the economy. When interest rates drop, it's easier to qualify to buy a home. It's easier to qualify to buy a car. Credit card interest rates go down. So people tend to spend more as interest rates drop. The EU zone has had 4 interest rate drops, 4 interest rate adjustments downward. And I'll tell you what they are. January of this year, the EU zone cut 25 basis points. From 3%, they cut to 2.75%. Okay, that was January. March of this year, the EU zone cut interest rates another 25 basis points down to 2.5%. Interest rates in the EU zone, 2.5%. Right, in the US, we're at like 4.5% right now. We're much higher. In April of this year, the EU zone did their 3rd interest rate cut of 25 basis points. Interest rates in April dropped to 2.25%. The 4th cut in the EU zone was last month in June. The EU zone again reduced interest rates by 25 basis points. You can look this up online. That was the 4th interest rate cuts. The EU zone interest rate is now 2%. Okay, so for 6 months, the EU zone has had a more competent central bank than what we have here. By that I mean their central bank in the EU zone recognizes the job market is horrible. We need to stimulate the economy. When the economy is stimulated and people spend more, that creates jobs. Because companies start doing better, they sell more, they need to hire more people. So the EU zone has had stimulative monetary policy now for half a year. We have not even gotten close to it. And the central bank in the U.S., the Federal Reserve, has been ignoring the crummy job market. They're being aided in that from a lot of different, entities are contributing to making the Federal Reserve ignore the job market. So if you want me to go into detail about that, please post a question in the comment and I'll explain. So the Federal Reserve at some point, and this is the silver lining, okay, to the drop in Prime Day sales. At some point, the Federal Reserve will be cornered. There will be so much data showing our economy is in trouble, they will be forced to do what the EU zone did 6 months ago and enact stimulative monetary policy. They're going to have to. That is the silver lining. So when will stimulative monetary policy, lowering of interest rates, arrive in the U.S.? So the current Fed president, Jerome Powell, his term does not end until about a year from now, in May of 2026. The United States cannot wait for another year to do what Europe did 6 months ago. The United States cannot wait for this guy to leave that job to enact stimulative monetary policy. We actually need stimulative monetary policy, a lowering of interest rates right now. The housing market is dead in the U.S. All the trades jobs that are associated with the housing market are not being created. That, when you sell your old house, which is not happening, people are not being able to sell their homes. Nobody's buying homes. But when you do sell a home, you fix it up, right? So you hire people to help you fix up the home. You might have to do some landscaping, some painting, some new flooring. None of those jobs are being created. When you buy the new home, you'll tend to buy appliances, new flooring, furniture, painting, landscaping, and so on. None of those jobs are being created. The housing market is dead. Once the stimulative monetary policy in the U.S. is enacted, those jobs will start being created again, and the job market will start improving. Right now, we have the largest number of people who have been unemployed for a long time in the past 4 years, since 2021. The number of long-term unemployed has not been this bad since 2021. The U.S. economy is in trouble, and our central bank is ignoring the bad job market. They're ignoring it. At least the EU zone, they woke up 6 months ago and they realized what was going on. We have an incompetent central bank. We have an incompetent central bank, period. We cannot wait another year until May of 2026 to do what the EU zone did 6 months ago. So there's a larger number of economists and people in government who are waking up to the fact that the job market is not in a healthy condition. There's a lot of propaganda trying to beat that back, but even the financial press is now admitting, I've heard it more than once on those shows, on finance shows, that if you happen to lose your job, you're going to have a hard time finding the next job, so don't quit. So even the financial press is starting to wake up. A larger number of people in the government and economists are waking up to the fact that our central bank is incompetent. They're allowing the job market to decay for no good reason. If they would look at what the EU zone has done over the past half year, they would take a hint. We need to lower interest rates. We need stimulative monetary policy. So the good news about the large drop in Amazon Prime sale on day one, Amazon Prime sales on day one, the good news is the U.S. will have to start enacting stimulative monetary policy soon. I suspect that there is an effort behind the scenes to sort of do a buyout on Jerome Powell to get him to resign early. I would not be surprised if there have been discussions in government, if we give this guy an incentive to leave, like a monetary incentive of some sort, he might decide to resign. Because it's clear that he's not going to rescue the job market. They're ignoring the job market. And all of us are suffering because of that. A 41% drop in the biggest retailer in the United States, that is a huge sign. And it's got nothing to do with the fact that there's 2 extra days of sales. If people wanted to buy stuff, they would be concerned. They would be like the Black Friday people who get into fistfights inside the store because everything's on sale. Everybody wants to buy the things on sale. They run out of stock quickly and fistfights commence because out of stock happens very fast. That's not happening. The reason they probably extended from 2 days to 4 days is they know the economy is weak. And the volume of sales they want to achieve, they're not going to be able to achieve it in 2 days because too many people are not spending. Consumers are not spending. Consumers are not spending. Talk to any college senior you know about the job market, the prospects of getting a job right now when they graduate from college. It's awful. And you can look this up and verify that online also. It's not a good time to be graduating college. So the good news, the silver lining is with signs like this, our central bank will have to wake up and engage in stimulative monetary policy very soon, like right now. That would be great. So we'll see how that goes. So if you have any questions about this, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Please post in the comments. And I really want to thank everyone for watching and have a great day.